Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. I hope everyone is having a marvelous day. Lovely, lovely day outside. We've got another fun-filled weekend ahead of us, but today it's still Thursday, so hopefully we're going to get some more good news. Actually, that's a bit of a misdirect because I know that we're going to be getting some really good news. I hope that everyone had a chance to see the rally last night. What an amazing show. The president, as always, going off script and giving it to us straight. He gave us the truth over and over and over again. First of all, I want to start out with this little picture here. I was just going to show the picture itself, but one of the Anons decided to throw it on the board, so I'm going to show it. It says, okay, since no one Anon answered, this one is for the lurkers. OP has given me permission to share. General Michael Flynn, QAnon letter, present. Enjoy Anons and autists. Where we go one, we go all. Now, this right here was actually sent to me before it was put up on the board, and I was actually waiting for Captain Roy, my good friend, to come on the program and share it then, but he decided to share it publicly, so now I will be doing the same. This right here is a letter from Lieutenant General retired Michael Flynn. It says, Captain Davis, thanks so much for all your amazing support and for all you do for patriots around our country. Our movement is strong because of people such as yourself. God bless you. Where we go one, we go all. That is from Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. If that is not confirmation of our movement, then I don't know what is. He says, where we go one, we go all. He underlines it twice, and he calls it our movement. That means that Michael Flynn is part of this movement, and he is here with us. This is incredible. Now, I just want to point out that Captain Roy is one of the voices behind the book that I was involved with, and he received this letter because he sent several copies to Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn returned with this letter and stated that Captain Roy is doing amazing things for the movement. Captain Roy is a great person. I am extremely proud of this letter. I am extremely proud of Captain Roy. We are going to get into more news right after this quick word from my sponsor. It only takes one major disaster to remind us how fragile life is and our systems are. Recent earthquakes in California have done just that for many people. Life can change in a flash, and all too often it does. When emergencies strike, are you prepared for the days without electricity and stores being damaged or closed? Well, if not, today's a good day to make a plan and prepare for those disasters. I've done this myself, and I started with building a food storage plan. I trust and use My Patriot Supply, and I think you should too. This month, they're running a sale price for a 2-week emergency food kit on my special website, preparewithredpill78.com. You can save 40% when you click the link in the description below and order it today. It gets shipped discreetly to your home. These 2-week emergency food kits include breakfast, lunches, dinners, and they last up to 25 years in storage. Preparing for emergencies with My Patriot Supply is the smart thing to do, and if you do it now, you'll save 40% at preparewithredpill78.com. That's preparewithredpill78.com. All right, and the first bit of news we're going to get into is that baby from the rally last night. That Q baby that Trump pointed out. Take a look at this. There it is. He said, what a beautiful baby. And this is a beautiful baby. Now, look, it's obviously a homemade Q onesie, but this baby is very, very well-mannered to be at this rally. Can you imagine all those people screaming? The baby looked happy as a pig in a poke. Look, you can see the Secret Service agent looking directly at the baby. You can see this guy with his eyes squinted looking directly at the baby. Maybe he needs contacts. But this, of course, was another confirmation from President Trump. He called all eyes on the baby. He had every camera in the house pan and look at the baby. And since this baby has been scrubbed from many of the streams from last night, Right Side Broadcasting, I believe, is one of the only ones that I know that still has it up. The major networks certainly have removed it. If you can find it anywhere else, then by all means, please let me know. We're going to be looking at actual video from it in just a second. But first, here is the post from our favorite Anon, which showed the actual picture right after the rally, right after this took place. Our favorite Anon posted it and tagged it where we go one, we go all. Beautiful stuff, guys. Now, let's take a look at one more thing. Now, do you remember post 2347? where our favorite Anon included a tweet from QAnon Baby. And the message was, important moment in time. The picture will be the signifier. The signifier will force the Q. The Q will be answered. Where we go one, we go all. Is this the moment, guys? Is this the moment that will force the hand of the mainstream media and force someone to ask the president if he knows who our favorite Anon is and if he has any information about the operation itself? I think it very well could be. The fact that this tweet, QAnon Baby, this was a big one, guys. I'm sure you all remember that back from October 5th, 2018. So this could be the day.
They respect us. That's more important. Look at that beautiful baby. Look at that beautiful baby. Wow, what a baby. What a baby. That is a beautiful baby. That's like from an advertisement. Perfect. Look how happy that baby is. So beautiful. Thank you, darling. That's really nice. It's a great thing. Is that your husband? That's a great thing. Thank you. Congratulations, husband. Man. What a picture. But we're going to have the country all set for your child, okay? All set. Because that's what it's about. Now, the media will say that's a prop. They say, no baby's so beautiful. That had to be a setup. I never saw that guy in my life, which is true. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Important moment in time. The picture will be the signifier. What did President Trump just say? What a picture. What a picture and what a beautiful baby. Congratulations to both of those parents. All right, and if you'll remember, we were speaking about the fact that Epstein had foreign passports. At least one that was from Saudi Arabia, and it looks like another one that was from Austria. Now, this is an update from the finding of those passports. Methods here says, does not address how the defendant obtained the foreign passport, and more concerning, the defendant has still not disclosed to the court whether he is a citizen or legal permanent resident of a country other than the U.S. Here is the document itself from Jeffrey S. Berman, the U.S. attorney in charge of this whole debacle. Now, if you'll know, this came out yesterday on the 17th of the month, and predictably, Jeffrey Epstein has been denied bail. A federal judge on Thursday denied bail to the wealthy sex trafficker J.E., who sought to be released from custody on a $100 million bond. Epstein's lawyers asked that he be kept in his $77 million Manhattan mansion with an electronic trafficking device as he awaited his trial. Epstein was arrested 2 weeks ago and indicted on one count of conspiring to commit sex trafficking. Judge Richard Berman, a Clinton appointee, said on Thursday that Epstein is a flight risk and a potential danger to the public, so he denied him bail. Federal prosecutors argued on Monday during the bail hearing that Epstein was a flight risk, and federal prosecutors said on Monday that a fake passport listing Saudi Arabia as a residence along with piles of cash and dozens of diamonds were found in Epstein's home safe along with a trove of lewd photos of women. One of the girls in the trove of photos was found to be a minor at the time the photo was taken. Prosecutors not only argued Epstein is a flight risk, they worry he will also try to influence witnesses if he's not held in jail as he awaits trial. The fake news media is desperately trying to tie pedophile Epstein to Donald Trump when it was in fact Bill Clinton who took more than 24 trips on the infamous Lolita Express. In fact, pilot logs reveal every time Bill Clinton flew on that plane, and underage girls were always present at that time. Wise move from Judge Richard Berman. It looks like he understands that if he was to let Epstein out, it would be very, very bad for him and for his legacy. Hopefully, he has flipped the script and is now willing to act on behalf of the law and order in this country and not simply make decisions based on the fact that he was appointed by Bill Clinton. And what did I tell you guys about President Trump's brilliant move to tie the Democrats to the squad because America hates them? Well, a House Democrat is saying that Trump is politically brilliant for targeting the squad. In the midst of intra-party fighting among Democrats, President Trump joined in to bash the squad for their anti-American rhetoric. Some immediately thought the president had blundered, but in reality, He succeeded in forcing the entire party to defend its most extreme members, Representative Occasional Cortex of New York, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, and Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts. The president won this one Democratic lawmaker in the House told CNN. What the president has done is politically brilliant. Pelosi was trying to marginalize these folks, and the president has now identified the entire party with them. Another Democrat said Trump outplayed them by setting the agenda. We need to focus on the issues that got Democrats here: jobs, health care, instead of the issues the president brings up deliberately. Anything that takes away from bread and butter issues is playing into his hands, said the lawmaker. Some Democrats are also increasingly frustrated with the four lawmakers who have been front and center during a contentious fight over funding for the U.S.-Mexico border. Occasional Cortex claimed House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was being racist as she snubbed the squad and backed moderate Democrats. That led to fiery criticism from several of the four lawmakers, which has annoyed some Democrats. I can't tell you the number of members who are angry and annoyed about them criticizing us, said one House Democrat. Less than 2 weeks ago, when members of our caucus were trying to support funds for children at the border, progressives were arguing that we're pro putting kids in cages. We're against human rights, so there's frustration, said another House Democrat. And Trump kicked off the battle with several posts on Twitter over the weekend. Remember, this is what he said. So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they even have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run, Trump tweeted on Saturday. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how it's done. These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements, the president tweeted. And Trump later revealed his strategy, writing, the Dems were trying to distance themselves from the four progressives, but now they are forced to embrace them. That means they are endorsing socialism, hate of Israel and the USA. Not good for the Democrats. That's right. This was a very, very bad move for Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democratic Party. But hey, you pick your battles, and here's the one they wanted to pick. Unfortunately, it's going to set them back years, and these progressives on the squad are everything that America does not represent. They are clearly bad for this country, and the American public knows that. So there's no way that people are going to vote for them when they realize that the Democrats endorse this kind of stuff. And all you got to do is look at the slate of Democratic candidates, because all of them are trying to push the same types of values that the squad are trying to push on America. This is going to be real bad for Democrats, guys. President Trump is going to win in a landslide, but don't let that stop you from voting. Make sure you get out there. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote for saving our country. All right, now, after the post where Q showed the baby, he showed the Keck bomb, the Crimson Jet, and says, what are the freaking odds of this? And it's highlighting the fact that the QAnon baby status from 2347, and then, of course, that beautiful baby from the Right Side Broadcasting feed from last night. Very, very cool. Next, he highlights it again. Today's Q baby proof on July 17th. Q Day is for Anons and Patriots. And highlights that post again. Says, date today, 17th. How many coincidences before mathematically impossible for Anons and Patriots? Next is a status about how Google unfairly influenced the 2016 election in Hillary's favor by millions of votes. Let's go ahead and take a look at that status. And this is from the hearings the other day when Ted Cruz was grilling a Google executive. And this person right here, Good Medicine for Us, says, boom, boom, imagine my shock. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this little exchange between Ted Cruz, and this is actually with a psychologist, I believe.
Do you happen to know who the Hillary Clinton campaign's #1 financial supporter was in the year 2016?
I think I do, but please remind me.
The #1 financial supporter of the Hillary Clinton campaign in the 2016 election was the parent company of Google, Alphabet, who was our first witness. They were her #1 financial donor, and your testimony is, through their deceptive search methods, they moved 2.6 million votes in her direction. I would think anybody, whether or not you favor one candidate or another, should be deeply dismayed about a handful of Silicon Valley billionaires having that much power over our elections to silently and deceptively shift vote outcomes.
Again, with respect, I must correct you. The 2.6 million is a rock bottom minimum. The range is between 2.6 and 10.4 million, depending on how aggressively they used the techniques that I've been studying now for 6.5 years.
Wow. Could you just say that again, please?
The 2.6 million is a rock bottom minimum. The range is between 2.6 and 10.4 million votes, depending on how aggressive they were in using the techniques that I've been studying, such as the search engine manipulation effect, the search suggestion effect, the answer bot effect, and a number of others. They control these, and no one can counteract them. These are not competitive. These are tools that they have at their disposal exclusively.
If any headline comes out of this hearing, that should be it.
Boom. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia swung the election, not Google. Wait, what? It was Google? It was Google the whole time? But where are the Russians? How many Russians work at Google? I bet you that's a big fat goose egg. Now, post 3442, Q asks 8chan to revert back to the original bread baking form and structure. Please revert back bread to original form. New structure eliminates, reduces hive mind cataloging and expansion. Why change a good thing? Next, on post 3443, board owner answers and says, will do. And then Q says, thank you, board owner. Post 3444, Q suggests removing the annoying CAPTCHA bot detection feature on 8chan. Anons will ask, does this include removing the CAPTCHA? And Q says, CAPTCHA can be easily bypassed by those who would seek to cause disruption. Having active serves no purpose. And post 3445, Q thanks the 8chan board owner for making the requested changes. They responded, done, thank you for the direction. And Q responds, thank you for your dedicated service, board owner. It is greatly appreciated. Now, here, guys, we have actual footage from the people who are the parents of the Q baby. Let's go ahead and take a look.
2 years to get 100%. Remember, I wanted to pull them out, but down to 1% and more went crazy. That's what happened. But they said she'd take a long time. I said to Racing Kane and the other journalists, you know how long can it take?
Very, very cool. Good job, Mommy Tribe. Here, also from my friend TikTok, is yet another picture of the father of the Q baby holding him up. This baby is so well behaved. These parents have done a really, really great job. Also from the Right Side Broadcasting Network. All right, one final post here before we move on to our last story. This is delivered by my friend Methods. It says, symbolism will be their downfall. And if you take a look, here is a temple someplace in the world, and it says that symbolism will be their downfall. Now, if you'll notice, it has a remarkably similar look to the temple on the island. Golden Dome seems to have the same type of stone and tile work. Once again, I had posed the question the other day, perhaps Jeffrey Epstein is secretly not of the faith that he proclaims to be. But when it comes down to it, I don't think that he is actually of this Muslim faith at all either. I think that he's actually part of the cult of Baal or the cult of Moloch, because we know the types of things that those sick people are involved in. I would not be surprised to learn that that cult has survived all this time by infiltrating itself into each of the primary religions across the world, and then spread even further throughout various cults that have arrived throughout these years as well. But I feel that the symbolism between that temple and this temple in this post are far, far too similar to be ignored. And finally, a short summary of an article by Vanity Fair. It's entitled, "It's Going to Be Staggering, the Amount of Names. As the Jeffrey Epstein case grows more grotesque, Manhattan and D.C. brace for impact." Look at this. This is Vanity Fair, a major media mainstream publication talking about the fact that this Jeffrey Epstein case is going to tie to many people in New York and D.C. I'm sure that there are many more places throughout the United States where Jeffrey Epstein held close relationships and engaged in blackmailing that people due to the fact that he was providing them with underage children. The Jeffrey Epstein case is an asteroid posed to strike the elite world in which he moved. No one can say yet precisely how large it is, but as the number of women who've accused the financier, at least that's what he claimed to be, of sexual assault grows to grotesque levels, there are said to be more than 50 women who are potential victims. A wave of panic is rippling through Manhattan, D.C., and Palm Beach as Epstein's former friends and associates rush to distance themselves while gossiping about who might be ensnared. Donald Trump's Labor Secretary Alexandra Acosta, architect of the original 2007 non-prosecution agreement that let Epstein off with a slap on the wrist, has already been forced to resign. The questions about Epstein are metastasizing much faster than they can be answered. Who knew about Epstein's alleged abuse? How and from whom did Epstein get his supposed $500 million fortune? How and why did Acosta grant Epstein an outrageously lenient non-prosecution agreement? And what does it mean that Acosta was reportedly told Epstein belonged to intelligence? But among the most pressing queries is which other famous people might be exposed for committing sex crimes. There were other business associates of Mr. Epstein's who engaged in improper sexual misconduct at one or more of his homes. We do know that, said Brad Edwards, a lawyer for Courtney Wild, one of the Epstein accusers, who gave emotional testimony at Epstein's bail hearing. In due time, the names are going to start coming out. Attorneys for Epstein did not respond to a request for comment. Likely within days, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit will release almost 2,000 pages of documents that could reveal sexual abuse by numerous prominent American politicians, powerful business executives, foreign presidents, as well as a known prime minister and other world leaders, according to the three-judge panel's ruling. The documents were filed during a civil defamation lawsuit brought by Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts Guffrey, a former Mar-a-Lago locker room attendant, against Epstein's former girlfriend and alleged madam Ghislaine Maxwell. Nobody who was around Epstein a lot is going to have an easy time now. It's all going to come out, said Guffrey's lawyer, David Boies. Another person involved with litigation against Epstein told me it's going to be staggering, the amount of names. It's going to be contagion numbers. Epstein remained a fixture in elite circles even after he was a registered sex offender. A few years ago, for example, he was a guest in a dinner in Palo Alto hosted by LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman for the MIT neuroscientist Ed Boyden. At that dinner, Elon Musk introduced Epstein to Mark Zuckerberg. Mark met Epstein in passing one time at a dinner honoring scientists that was not organized by Epstein, Zuckerberg spokesman Ben LeBolt told me. Mark did not communicate with Epstein again following that dinner. In an email, Elon Musk responded, "I don't recall introducing Epstein to anyone, as I don't know the guy well enough to do so. Epstein is obviously a creep, and Zuckerberg is not a friend of mine. Several years ago, I was at his house in Manhattan for about 30 minutes in the middle of the afternoon with Tallulah Riley, as she was curious about meeting this strange person for a novel she was writing. We did not see anything inappropriate at all, apart from weird art. He tried repeatedly to get me to visit his island, and I declined." One source who's done business with Epstein told me that Epstein's 21,000 square foot townhome on East 71st Street welcomed a steady stream of the Davos crowd in the past decade. The source said Bill Gates, Larry Summers, and Steve Bannon visited the house, which has been called one of the largest private residences in Manhattan. Jeffrey collected people. That's what he did, the source said. Gates and Summers did not respond to requests for comments. Thus far, the name most publicly associated with Epstein's alleged crimes is famed lawyer Alan Dershowitz, who's been waging a public battle with David Boies for years. In April, Boies' client Guffrey sued Dershowitz for defamation after Dershowitz called her a liar, a strategy similar to that of 7 of Bill Cosby's accusers. In the days since the FBI arrested Epstein at Teterboro Airport a week and a half ago, Dershowitz has been going on television and dialing up friends and reporters to profess his innocence and label Guffrey and Boies liars. "I want everything to come out. I'm not afraid of anything because I did nothing wrong," Dershowitz told me on the afternoon of July 15th. He called me a minute after I had emailed him for comment. He said he'd been friends with Epstein since 1996, when they were introduced at a party at Martha's Vineyard by Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. She begged me to meet him. She told me, "Here's this smart academic." A few days later, Epstein invited Dershowitz to Les Wexner's 59th birthday party at Wexner's mansion in New Albany, Ohio. It's a tradition that Jeff invited the smartest person he met that year. He told them I was the smartest. They remained close for years. Dershowitz strenuously denied ever participating in Epstein's underage sex ring and said he'd only been in Epstein's presence with his wife. I got one massage, he told me. It was from a 50-year-old Russian woman named Olga, and I kept my shorts on. I didn't even like it. I'm not a massage guy. Dershowitz says he secretly and legally tape-recorded settlement conversations with Boys and that the phone calls capture Boys admitting that Guthrie's allegations aren't true. Boys is a bad person, he told me. I never said that, Boys responded when I asked about Dershowitz's version of the phone calls. What Allen does is he plays a second or two out of context. He never lets anybody listen to the whole thing. Boys also dismissed Dershowitz's claims that he never met Guthrie at Epstein's house. According to Boys, Epstein's former employees said in sworn depositions that they saw Dershowitz at the house multiple times without his wife. This Olga woman doesn't exist. Epstein's barely kept women around who were over 25. It's a figment of Allen's imagination, Boys said. On Wall Street, Epstein is a subject of mystery and fear. I knew Jeff. He came across as very smart, very sophisticated, one hedge fund manager told me. He always had a good read on people, but manipulative people are good at that. Another person who's been in meetings with Epstein told me he's very clever. How Epstein obtained his fortune is a matter of feverish speculation. His claim to a billionaire-only client list now seems laughable to the bankers I spoke with. One Wall Street source with direct knowledge of Epstein's business said one source of Epstein's income was providing tax advice and estate planning to rich clients, like Apollo Global Management founder Leon Black, presumably because Epstein had experience with offshore funds after basing his office in the Virgin Islands. In 2015, Black made a $10 million donation to Epstein's foundation. And, of course, Black declined to comment. In the absence of much other information, the reigning theory on Wall Street currently is that Epstein's activities with women and girls were central to the building of his fortune, and his relations with some of his investors essentially amounted to blackmail. Similarly, D.C. is on the edge. Epstein bragged about his contacts in Washington, Boys said. Reporters are likely to dig into why the Justice Department decided not to prosecute Epstein and kept the deal secret from his victims. One theory circulating among prominent Republicans is that Epstein was a Mossad agent. Another is that George W. Bush White House directed Acosta not to prosecute Epstein to protect Prince Andrew on behalf of the British government, then the U.S.'s closest ally in the Iraq War. The royal family did everything they could to try and discredit the Prince Andrew stuff, Boys told me. When we tried to follow up with anything, we were stonewalled. We wanted to interview him. They were unwilling to do anything. And of course, Prince Andrew could not be reached for comment. Of course, the two Epstein friends that people are most curious about are Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, both of whom have denied anything untoward. During the 2016 presidential race, Hillary Clinton's campaign consulted Bill's post-White House Secret Service logs because they were worried Trump would bring up Bill's close association with Epstein and wanted to get at the head of the story, a source told me. For those in Epstein's orbit, the stakes of exposure are bound to get higher as more and more women come forward. Every day seems to bring new horrors about Epstein's alleged depravity. At a press conference on Tuesday, Courtney Wild's lawyer Brad Edwards said that after interviewing dozens of Epstein's accusers, it appeared Epstein spent almost all of his time abusing underage girls. It was his full-time job, Edwards says. We have not found anyone who has provided information about a legitimate business he was engaged in. Well, guys, I would say that this is going to continue to spill out. This is such bad news for all these people in Washington, D.C., Palm Beach, anywhere that Epstein touched down with that plane, and especially bad news for these girls because of the things that they have had to endure and certainly will have to endure again as they come out to testify against their abusers. Sick, disgusting, but once again, this just leads me to believe that Epstein is the keystone. You remove that keystone, the whole arch comes tumbling down, and each of those blocks is made up by a powerful person in D.C., Hollywood, New York, Palm Beach, you name it. All right, folks, I think that's all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.
They respect us. That's more important. Look at that beautiful baby. Look at that beautiful baby. Wow, what a baby. What a baby. That is a beautiful baby. That's like from an advertisement. Perfect. Look how happy that baby is. So beautiful. Thank you, darling. That's really nice. It's a great thing. Is that your husband? That's a great thing. Thank you. Congratulations, husband. Man. What a picture. But we're going to have the country all set for your child, okay? All set. Because that's what it's about. Now, the media will say that's a prop. They say, no baby's so beautiful. That had to be a setup. I never saw that guy in my life, which is true. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much.